Good morning. How's everybody, man? Saying some, decent day outside. I was heading on to my doctor's appointment and, was gonna take the train. And the train, just decided, we're not running right now. So it went from 4 minutes to 6 minutes after standing there for about 10, 15 minutes. So there's, MTA's, it's working real good, man. On top of the spike in crime and stuff like that in the Bronx. MTA is working perfect, man. They run the trains pretty much how they feel like it, man. Sometimes they're skipping stops and, sometimes they're sitting in between train stations. No care in the world about people that got to get to work on time or pick up their kids or whatever a person has to do that's important. It's just every day, all day long, something wrong with these trains, man. You know, um, so I had to cancel my doctor's appointment, come back home, you know, tune into a little news and tune in to First Take, Stephen A. I don't really watch First Take, sometimes I tune in, but there's Stephen A. obviously ain't there. Talking about a few things like Jason Tatum's return tonight, and is it too soon with respect? Things like that. He's definitely going to be on the minutes restriction. That's just, I doubt he plays more than 20, 25 minutes. I wouldn't play him 20 minutes, coming from an Achilles injury. I don't even think he should have came back this season, but, they made some interesting points. The panel, hey, the bag, man, they're paying this man 300 and something million, you know, um, and he's a competitor as well. Who would you rather pay to see you, Wembanyama or Otani? It's tough. Um, because I would rather pay to see Wemby because there's more action in basketball. Baseballs are like you know, they're not gonna constantly see Otani doing much. You know what I'm saying? Like he's if he's not pitching, then he's probably gonna be a designated hitter. You know, um, but Wembanyama, we're gonna see him playing offense, defense, everything. So I would pay for Wembanyama, man. More excitement. You know, but as far as the impact on the game, both do the same pretty much. Defense. One is a pitching and a very good pitcher, and one of the best hitters in baseball, and Wembanyama, one of the best defensive players in basketball, and a great scorer on the opposite on the offensive end. So talent wise they're about the same, but it's just because of the baseball the way baseball's played, you know it's a little slower than basketball. So I would definitely pay to see Wemby. Um, you can't go wrong with either one. You know, yeah, and then boxing, I was, commenting on my man Adam. I think the Adam, what was his name? Adam's boxing, and he was talking about like a face of boxing, and like I said, I spoke about pay per view, how I think it's not pay per view itself, but it's just like the factors that go with it has ruined the sport of boxing because you're not now how you gonna build up and coming fighters with no networks? Um, there's only one network that's showing consistent boxing, and that's the Zone. Um, so guys want to sign to like promoters that are dealing with the Zone. How you promoting your fighters, man? Especially the up and coming fighters. your young talent. Like how you know what I mean, only gonna showcase them on the pay-per-view cards, and how often are you gonna produce a pay-per-view event? You know, you know what I'm saying? People are not gonna pay $80 every week, you know, just to see fights, or $80 2 or 3 times a month to see fights. Like it's you know, people are struggling out here, man. So it's hard for these guys to promote their fights, man. And there's no real face of boxing right now. And that's what his main topic was. You know, Tank. You know, I don't know what's going on with him. And Canelo's fading away. Crawford. Crawford is retired, but he was never the face of boxing. He was, you know, probably the best boxer, but he wasn't the face. You know what I'm saying? Like David Benavidez, as I said, he's um um the activity's not enough, and the promotion just ain't there. Boxing the way it used to be, man. Like the hype ain't around the sport like it used to be. So, you know, with the women's boxing, you know, Claressa Shields she's pretty much the face of women's boxing. You know, other popular boxers, you know, Amanda Serrano, she's up there. You know, Katie Taylor's up there, but she's, you know, fading. Alicia Baumgartner, she's up there. You know, and you know, but aside, you know, of those big names, you know, is we know Claressa's she's the premier package for women's boxing. You know, the Bills acquired wide receiver DJ Moore and trade with Bears. So they receive a second round pick. So you trade a wide receiver away from a young quarterback. I don't know what's going on with that. I don't know why they traded that guy, but it is what it is, man. You see, my hat says Broncos on it, man. That's all I'm worried about right now, man. I'm a Denver, man. But anyway, man, you know, we're gonna transition a little bit from I was talking about sports, you know, to talk about what's going on out here, man. First of all, it's Friday, is you know, June Friday, and you know, Kristi Noem, she got packed yesterday, and they frying her, man. Oh man, they frying her. You know, you know, she had that coming though, because of, you know, just her demeanor. Like these people, you know, that we have in office right now is just, I don't know, man. It's something with the Republican Party, right? There's just no accountability, man. Like they stick together. I give them that. Like it take a lot for them to have to, you know, turn against you, man. You know, especially ever since Trump has really taken control of that party. And you know, because in the beginning, I remember 2015, they didn't want Trump. I think they knew, like, damn, we can't let this guy. He's too radical. He just says anything, and we can't have, you know, him leading our party until they saw the numbers, and then they rallied behind him. After he stomped everybody out in those primaries, they said, "Holy shit, people really are buying this shit!" Like, and you know, they stood behind him 10 toes down, pretty much. And you know, so there's no accountability. Like, only time he's ever been really held accountable is when the Democrats have been in office. And you know that all that shit is theater. It's all bullshit, man. Like they all profit and benefit from the American people, and you know, and wars and things like that, and we're the ones that suffer. But the trend and pattern is the Republicans, you know, they tend to jam up the economy. Bush did it, his son did it, and then Trump comes in office, COVID hits us. That's mismanaged, and people lost a lot of businesses. We recovered the economy, and then here we go again. Trump gets back in office, promised us no new wars. I'm gonna close the border. I'm gonna do this and do that. He tried to close the border. He definitely closed the border as far as that. But now you know what I'm saying. But it was the way it was being done. And then you got these people like Chris, what's her name? Noam, whatever her name is. You got Pat, and you got Stephen Miller running. You got grand wizards out here running, the government, man. What you think gonna happen, man? Like, and these people don't give a F about anybody but people that look like them, and they don't even care about them. They only care about who's on their side. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? These people, they hide behind religion, and it's that's why they all can work together, because you'll think like, all right, Jewish people, not Jewish people and all Jewish people, not getting on the people that don't got nothing to do with it, but we're looking at like the people that are defending each other. They sit down and say, the Jewish people will say, your Messiah is not the real Messiah. We're still waiting for the Messiah to come. They even tried to kill Isa alayhi salam, right? And so they're pretty much saying your whole way of life is false, Christians. And you're still siding and being Zionists and calling yourself Christian. I don't get it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't get it, man. How do you side with somebody who stands totally against everything you believe? Unless you might feel the same way. And you're just hiding, because, this is in the Quran. Even though Allah speaks to the Muslims, it also can apply to other people when they say, hey, when I'm in front of people, I say one thing, but when I'm in private, I'm doing something totally different. I'm just pretending, And it also says in the Quran that, Allah says, these people commit mischief in the land. And you say, why do you commit mischief? And they say, well, we're the ones bringing the peace. Bringing peace. But you're the ones causing the mischief. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, and, it also speaks about the people who rewrote the scriptures for a measly price. You rewrote the scriptures to benefit yourself. And he spoke specifically about rabbis and monks and priests and things like that. People that have rewritten these books and taken them out of their original form and written them to benefit their personal gains. And this is evil, because you're misleading people. And a lot of people, people buy into these things because it's a way of life and it's a faith, and they put this mirage in front of you to make it seem like this is the righteous thing to do, when everything that they're doing is based off of is mixing good and bad, and then is using the scriptures that are good to lure people in, but the practices are off. You know what I'm saying? And then people, they don't even practice how they preach, because it's like, how do you walk around with hate and animosity in your heart, and you call yourself Christian, you follow the teachings of Christ, when he didn't act like that? Everything you guys try to justify is like, like, well, is always some type of way you guys try to justify it that has nothing to do with his teachings. And it's like, so what are we practicing, man? You know what I'm saying? You walk around, you hate black people. You hate Muslims. What do you hate the Muslim people for? Oh, they're barbaric. But who's barbaric? You got 1.2 billion Muslims around the world. First of all, why are y'all in the Middle East anyway? If you don't like these people, get from their region. Leave them alone. Why are you over there, man? And that's why I said in previous videos, these are the same playbooks that they use, man. That they use with the indigenous people here. You come here, you call them savages, you push them all out their land, and you start killing them, and you justify killing them. Oh, but they're hostile threat. They're threatening us. You know what I mean? Like, you play the victim role to justify being a monster. You done ethnically cleanse these people in Gaza. It's not enough. Yeah. Now you're going after Iran. They want to clear the way, and it's common sense, so that they don't have any resistance, and they control the Middle East, and that is Israel. And the United States is helping. The United States has a lot of blood on its hands, man. You know, and this is, you know, dealing with, you know, CIA, the military, and I'm glad that military guy stepped up. We need more patriots like him to say, look, we're not following. I was saying that, like, where is the military people that, yo, fam, we're not following these orders. If you really serve the people, you don't follow these type of orders. If you're following these orders, that means you're not really serving the people. You're serving these administrations. And this is why I keep saying they need to stop these administrations from appointing people into positions of power. Let the people vote them in. Secretary of Defense, they should be voted in. Put them on a ballot, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, put them on a ballot, man. Let the people vote them in. Because if it's a party situation, right, and if you just relying on Congress, whoever holds the position is gonna vote how they want to vote. So you're not getting no real transparency. You're not getting no integrity with this shit, man. If I'm the president and I got the House and I got the Senate and I know they're gonna approve whoever I pick, I'm gonna pick the loyalist dude possible to me, especially if I'm picking them and they're the ones representing, because they don't represent us. They say they represent, supposed to represent the people, but they represent themselves. If you represent the people, you wouldn't be in this war. You would have said, you know what, my people don't like this. You know what, Israel, you gotta handle this on your own. They didn't do that because they're not for the people. You know what I'm saying? So now you got, then what is the problem with Muslims? Or they're barbaric animals, they chant death to. Why are they chanting that? And now you're starting to get people to ask that question, that have common sense. Not the people that just hate because they can. And no matter what you tell them, you know, like Allah says in the Quran again, see, He tells us all these things, and people act like they're shocked when they read it because they don't know. But all these things are in the Quran and in Hadith that, you know, they will make these people deaf, dumb, and blind. So no matter what you do, they're not going to believe. And even in early Islam, when the Prophet, peace upon him, passed away, a lot of people reverted back to their old ways, man. A lot of people were hypocrites. This is why you got to use your common sense when you see controversial things in Islam that happen after the Prophet, peace be upon him. I know people want to just follow the scholars and the books and all that, but you got to use your common sense too, man. Everything might not have been as righteous as it was. You had Muslims fighting against each other. You had the hypocrites, a lot of hypocrites who really didn't want to follow Islam, but, you know what I'm saying, accepted Islam only to keep their homes or to try to keep some type of status or whatever, you know. And now that the Prophet, peace upon him, is gone, you know, people reverted back to what they were doing. You know what I mean? So you had a lot of disloyal people and that could spread things and things like that and put things out in the universe. And you see how today you could put something out in the universe that's totally false and AI, and people will still believe that shit and go and spread it and what you call it, not replay it or you know what I'm saying, you know how you on Twitter or X or whatever, and you I forgot the name of it, but you know what I mean, like they'll distribute that, you know what I'm saying, false information and spread it. So you know, this is why you gotta use your common sense, man, like and think, man, you know, and follow, you know, you follow the scholars, like, use your common sense too, man. You know what I'm saying? You follow the Prophet or something. You follow the Quran first, and you follow the Sunnah. and you follow, you know what I'm saying, the scholars, man. You know what I'm saying? And follow your common sense, man. Read and learn how to interpret things, you know, on your own, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, but these people hate Islam. Why? You know what I'm saying? Why the hate? You know? It's almost 11. You know what I'm saying? Like, why the hatred, man? You know what I'm saying? Like, sorry. 1 second, man. Okay. You know, so it's like, you know, what is there? You know what I'm saying? All we do as Muslims, like, they make it seem like the Middle East is the only Muslims. And then they, you know, now you had one brother, they said he was from Parkchester. He went out to Texas and he slaughtered some people. He's gonna, you know, if whether you do that for Allah, you're going to the fire. You kill one person, it's like killing the whole of humanity unjustly. Those people didn't do anything to you for you to go chanting or killing somebody, right? Sometimes I be thinking that shit is bullshit too, but I be, you know what I'm saying, if you are doing stuff like that, you're killing people for no reason. Prophet ﷺ didn't send companions into the town and say, go stab 10 people that didn't do anything to you. They strategically fought these battles, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, with help of Allah and angels. You know what I'm saying? Like, so, you know, it was, you know what I'm saying? Like, you didn't see that in Islam. And that's not Islam. We preach that, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know, like, all Muslims, you know what I'm saying, and people look at the Middle East, all there, these people, you know, and they look at the way these governments treat them. Now, these governments, right, you know, I don't know because I'm not there, but if governments are mistreating people and slaughtering people and, you know, or they're oppressing people, that's not right. There's no oppression in Islam. That's not practicing the right Islam. It's not. These are people that are dealing with extremists or whatever, or they're, you know, they doing to the point where they're power struck and they have the power and the authority to do these things, and they're going a little bit too far with the religion, you know. But people are mad because, oh, they want you to wear your headpiece. For the women, shouldn't come outside uncovered, you know. You know, you know, they don't let you be free and all of this stuff, like, but that's not your business, man. This has been, you know what I'm saying, these are the rules of where they from. People don't agree with everything we do here. Should people come here and start taking over our lands? Like, you know, that was something for the people over there to stand up, and if you feel you're being oppressed, stand up for yourself. But, you know, like I said, man, this is crazy, man. Like, the propaganda and the way they make it seem like Muslims are just like some hateful people, and that's the farthest from that, man. Muslims believe in God. They pray 5 times a day. They give charity. You know, we fast. We make our trip to Hajj. We believe in the books. You know what I'm saying? Not just the New Testament. Oh, we believe in the books that Allah revealed to his prophets. The Injil, the Torah in its original forms. You know, the actual teachings. You know what I'm saying? Not man's words, not the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Like these are not really these are not really Allah's words, but what he taught Isa alayhi salam. We love Isa alayhi salam. You know what I'm saying? Like, we just don't think he's a son of God. We think he's a prophet. We know he's a prophet. He's a prophet just like every other prophet came with miracles and things like that. They all had miracles. You guys zero in on just one. You know what I'm saying? And the prophet, peace upon him, he came to the whole humanity. Then you guys like to pick and choose to attack Islam. Like, oh, well, it says kill people. It says do this. It says do that. It doesn't say that like that. Like, These are, you know what I'm saying, when you read the science of the Quran and understand the science, and you read the tafsir, and you actually sit down and read the Quran and study Islam, stop just looking for anything that's wrong, you would understand that these things that Allah is saying, He's talking about battles and things like that, and fighting against the disbelievers, the people that were driving the Muslims out of Mecca at that time and oppressing Muslims, and wanting to oppress Islam. That's what that is referring to. How to deal with those type of people, not kill everybody or make everybody believe. There's no compulsion in Islam. We cannot make people do anything. Same thing with this marriage thing, or underage girl getting married to a grown man. Like, a woman has to consent to marrying to marriage. She has to be able to fulfill the duties of a wife. How does a child be able to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, so it doesn't make any sense, man. Use your brain. It's not even in the Quran that says the age of we don't know how old, to be honest. Nobody knows, right? But we can all sit here and speculate, but it's not in the Quran, and it doesn't promote that. You know what I'm saying? Like it flies in the face of the teachers of Islam. Because how does a child fulfill the duties of a wife? And they're not mentally mature yet. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't make sense. Use your brain, man. Like study more. You know what I'm saying? Like, find out like who these people were. What were the timelines? Like, look at those things, man. You know what I'm saying? But these people, they look for anything to try to topple Islam and get a gotcha moment. You know what I'm saying? And then you got our politicians that are spewing hate. And that's why I said a lot of these people, and most of them are Republicans. We got John Fetterman, who's, I don't know what he is, but, and I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I care less about either party. They're both all bullshit, man. You know what I mean? Like, but I feel like, there's a lot of grand wizards in that Republican Party, man. They don't care, man. They just like, they're spitting so much hate. I don't even want to mention their names. We know who they are, man. They're bad people, man. You don't spread it, and then they sit there and hide behind their religions and say, I'm a religious person and I'm a God fan. So you disrespect a whole bunch of people, billions of people, religion and way of life, because you don't like something going on in one region. People don't like what's going on in America. Should they say all Americans are murderers and genocidal maniacs? Like, come on, man. You can't say that about everybody in no religion, man, like, or no way of life, because, everybody doesn't move the same. There's Muslims all over the world. You see all this shit happening all over the world. Every time something happens with a Muslim, they want to highlight it. But when it's a school shooting or something like that, they brush it off. Oh, it might have been mentally ill, or, if it's Democrats, oh, it's the guns. But when it's Muslims, oh, it's terror. Like, come on. Stop that, man. They're oppressing their people. They're doing this. We gotta go over there. Leave those people the fuck alone, man. And you probably won't have them screaming or burning flags or saying death to America and all this stuff. Leave them alone. What are you over there for? Oh, we gotta help. Nobody was bothering these people, man. They're the ones starting the problems, man. Leave those people alone. But they want to expand their territory. And then you got the United States that use them, to and use Saudi Arabia and all those little countries to, take out the Ottoman Empire, and now they have control of that Middle East and the resources, and they don't want to give it up. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just call it what it is. You got drugs coming out of there, oil coming out of there, all kind of natural resources coming from over there. They don't want to give that up. But, you know what I'm saying? Like, they know they lose that area, it's curtains, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you know what I'm saying? Like, That's, you know what I'm saying? And then that's a main passageway with all kind of, like, you fucking with Iran. This ain't Venezuela or Iraq. You fucking with Iran. You fucking with people. Then you doing it during the month of Ramadan. Like, come on. Then you kill their leader and you expect them to sit at the table and make a deal with you. Like, you killed their leader. Or he was a bad guy. It doesn't matter. You killed the leader, man. People think Trump's a bad guy. People think Putin. Why y'all didn't kill Putin, man? Or Xi Jinping, whatever his name is, or what's the other guy named Kim, Kim in North Korea. But you know what I'm saying, this is what makes them bullies. You're gonna go after a country that you know don't have the defenses. This is why countries want nukes. This is why they don't want these countries to have nukes, because they know that the nukes are deterrents. So anything that deters you from making a move on another country that you can take advantage of, you don't want them to have those type of weapons. Come on. You know what I'm saying? I bet you're not telling Germany they can't have nukes. You know what I'm saying? Like, are you gonna tell, you're not gonna tell Russia they can't have nukes. You've been claiming Russia's the most dangerous threat in the world for decades, man. Why don't you stop them from having nukes? You won't engage with them head on. Now China got nukes and all kind of shit. Engage them head on. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna attack a country, you know what I'm saying, on behalf of other countries because they want them out the way so that they can expand their territory, and you want them out the way. You really had no problem with them. You only being the big homies defense. You ain't really had no problem with them. You just went over there because your little homies like, yo, nah, we got problems. We could deal with them, but you know what I'm saying, we rather you deal with them, you know, and we just fall back. You know what I'm saying? Like, nah. Meanwhile, your people over here starving, man. People over here now, the gas prices about to explode, and now prices and everything gonna go up because if you don't have gas, you know, and gas is gonna be hard to come by, and gallons going up, and you know, I think some of them shits went up 23 cents, whatever, a gallon. Like, that's a lot. It don't seem like it is, but it's a lot. And it's going to probably keep skyrocketing the longer the shit is, and it's not, and then, you know, when that goes up, other prices go up because now your deliveries are going to take longer or whatever, or it's going to be a lot of demand. It's just not a good look, and the war is not going according to plan, is it? You know. Anyway, let me get up out of here, man. It's like I said, that war's not going according to plan. They're getting a lot of bases destroyed and attacked, and embassies are getting attacked, and now they want people to evacuate. It's not going according to plan, man. But anyway, let me get up out of here, man. Many Face Publishing, man. I gotta go pick up my kids. I'm out, man. Peace.